It's good to be back. I almost find it kind of hard to believe that the last Titan Warfare video on this channel was 2 weeks ago. And I find it even harder to believe that the last Titan Warfare video, which was 2 weeks ago, was about an update for Titan Warfare. I think I've just gotten to the point where I'm so used to Roblox YBA bullshit that when an update comes out within a reasonable time, I'm baffled, and I'm like, wait a minute, I wasn't ready for this. What the fuck? So with the Titan Warfare update that came out on Friday, Saturday, I can't even remember. I'm sorry, I'm late to the party, I know. I knew I had to come back and cover it, even if nobody was going to watch it. Speaking of, nobody watched the last one. So if you're seeing this right now, pretty please go like and subscribe if you haven't already, so that people actually see it. For some reason, my Titan Warfare videos are a crapshoot. Sometimes they do well and sometimes they flop, and I don't know why. So if we can try to avoid that, that'd be great. That being said, the new Titan Warfare update, in Titan Warfare fashion, is still incredible. And I almost feel like I'm setting them up for failure, because update after update after update, the game just gets better and better and better. And so obviously, eventually, there's gonna have to be an update that isn't a banger. But we haven't hit that wall yet, because just like the previous one that changed a bunch of things in survival, the new stuff that was added, and all of the changes that were done in this update are pretty much across the board great and make the game either easier to play from a quality of life standpoint, made existing things that were bad stronger so that they live up to what we already have, and adding new things that, at least from face value, seem pretty balanced, and if they're not, I'm sure it won't be too difficult to just fix them up. The only thing I'll say that does kind of irk me is that Thunder Spears are still pretty much non-functional. I don't want to have to make an entire video on Thunder Spears, and I mean, I was going to make an entire video on AP Gear and Levi. Literally this week, the Levi problem was going to come out, and then they fixed Levi. So I assume they'll fix Thunder Spears. I've talked to some people behind the scenes about it. They just kind of don't work right now. I don't want to get into it. But that's literally the only thing that I have to complain about. The only negative is that something that I presumed would be fixed wasn't. And if the only negative is one thing not getting fixed, I think we're in a pretty damn good spot. But I'm talking in circles at this point, so let's talk about what was actually in the update and why it makes the game better. The title of the update was the Yelena update, so why not start with her? Yelena is a new Marleyan hero that costs 11,000 cash in order to unlock. Funnily enough, despite being the titular part of the update, I think Yelena is what I used the least while recording for this video. There wasn't any particular reason for it, I just was really caught up in using all the other new stuff, and I never really got around to using her. So I'll be the first one to tell you that my opinions on balance with this hero are not well-founded, because I've only used her like twice, and I've seen her once. Anyways, what does Yelena have? Well, as per Marleyan standard, she has an SMG, but she also has a new weapon, which is the Luger. The Luger pistol is really interesting because it has quite limited range, but it two-shot kills. It's only got 4 shots, so you have to be a little bit careful, but the firing delay between the two is not very long. The best way I can describe the Luger is, well, it's the shotgun without knockback. It's got limited range, it two-shot kills, you need to be pretty accurate with the shotgun in order for it to do damage anyway, and it dismembers Titans. So it's literally just the shotgun, but behaves kind of like the sniper rifle. I actually think the best part about the Luger is the fact that it can disable Titans. It's really easy to go behind a Titan and just bop it twice in the back of the legs with the Luger. The shotgun, it can be kind of tricky to do this because you get knocked back and then you get pushed out of range. But with the Luger, it's no problem. This little hybrid of the shotgun and the sniper rifle probably isn't quite as good as either of those, but seeing as it's the middle of the road of the two, it's pretty damn good. She's also got a flamethrower, which can roast players as well as Titans and Titan shifters. The effectiveness of the flamethrower, I couldn't tell you because I barely used it, mostly because I'm an idiot, and every time I had a chance to use it, I forgot I had it. But I do know, just like the Marleyan shotgun, it can go through walls, which is a handy thing to know when there's an LDN on the other side of a wall and you can't get to them. Or when you get stuck in the floor, and there's no option other than to spam the flamethrower as people try to stab you. Pro tip, don't get stuck in the floor. The last thing Yelena has is Molotov cocktails, which I used even less than the flamethrower, and these things are pretty deceptive, as I'm pretty sure they can only damage Titan shifters, and if you throw them at a human, they'll just walk through the fire like it's nothing. I'm 100% certain that they decided to do this for balance purposes, because if you could just cover an area in fire, that would be really obnoxious. But I won't lie when I say it's a bit jarring that people can just walk through flames. Really, the Molotov is basically just a supportive item to be used against Titan shifters while there's a fight going on. Your Titan can sit in the fire, and the enemy Titan can't go in there, or they'll take periodic damage. Overall, it doesn't look like Yelena's really going to be some sort of massive meta pick, but it's always nice to have more heroes that are actually fun to use, and I think Yelena fits the bill without totally breaking the meta. Next up is the new Capital Mitras map, or however the hell you pronounce that. Honestly, I don't have a clue. What I can tell you is that I had some of the most fun playing on this new map than I have ever in the entirety of Titan Warfare. And if you went back 2 weeks and said my favorite part of the new update that was coming out for Titan Warfare was gonna be a map, I'd tell you you were full of shit. But I'm dead serious. The new map, at the very least as a Marlian, is so much fun. The introduction of real indoor environments is something that I didn't really ever think I needed in this game, and now that we have it, it's hysterical. I think it's pretty clear that the Marlians have a fairly hefty advantage here, but I think having maps that favor one team or the other isn't necessarily a bad thing. And I mean, Titan shifters can just hit through the whole thing anyway, so if there are Marlians in there hiding out, it quickly turns from a safe zone to a death sentence once the Titan shifters on the enemy team catch on that you're under there. Now, on the topic of things I like, and considering we already talked about the Luger pistol, General Magath getting the Luger pistol, on top of the 2 new perks that were added, finally made General Magath not garbage. And our boy the General was also going to get a video talking about how trash he was, and the fact that he didn't even come close to holding a candle to Levi. And now, with the changes, it helps a lot. Speaking of perks, the 2 new perks are really strong. Hasty makes it so that your jetpack charges can regenerate 2.1 seconds faster, and Compact makes your SMG have 45% more ammo. If you've played this game for any amount of time, you'll know that playing as a Marlian, more often than not, the most common way for you to die is that you run out of ammo on all your guns. And so having more ammo in any of those guns is basically a no-brainer. I threw this perk on every single one of my classes, and it cost me a fortune and made me almost go bankrupt. But I highly recommend it because it is ungodly helpful. Hasty can also help out, but seeing as when you kill people you get all your dashes back anyway, I think the actual usefulness of this can be a little bit overstated. But it doesn't mean that it isn't helpful and not worth running. The 2 perks did make it so that there isn't necessarily a standout meta set anymore, which I think is super cool. And overall, one of the criticisms that I did have as a whole about Titan Warfare is I felt like it was kind of lacking in the perks department. I was worried that future perks would just be useless or they'd just called it quits adding them, but I'm really glad to see that that's not the case. And I look forward to more interesting perks across the board for all the different classes. Maybe Titan shifters? Wink wink, nudge nudge? We'll see. Final notes on things I missed. About the map, there's a few bushes that you just phase through that don't really need to be there, and I don't know why they are. And it's kind of strange seeing people basically walk through the floor. And General Magath's turret can now be moved, which really it should always have been able to do, but whatever. It's good to have it, obviously. Second to last thing to talk about, and it's the elephant in the room, which is the big-ass Levi Nerf. I feel like the question's already been answered by me earlier in the video, but yes, I feel like the Levi Nerf was 125% warranted. Because I was just about to make a video talking about how unbelievably stupid Levi was. Levi pre-nerf single-handedly made it so that if you tried to play a Titan shifter other than the Armored Titan on Marlian, you couldn't do it. It was impossible. And even if you played the Armored Titan, the blind lasted so long that if you were just targeting one person with it, you could have them blind for like 80% of the match, because the cooldown for the move would be basically almost done by the time the blind actually wore off. They could just bide their time, wait until you were occupied, auto tendon cut, spin, and 3,000 of your health was gone, just like that. It took 0 skill, it was really obnoxious, and it was enough to make me rage quit on many occasions. Thankfully, that's mostly a thing of the past. Now, rather than being based off of cooldowns, all of Levi's moves are based off of rage, which is a bar that you can see right above your blades and your gas. This rage bar is built up by attacking enemy Titan shifters, which means that if you want to use any of your moves that do a ton of damage to Titan shifters, you actually need to attack the Titan shifters. No more running in circles forever, throwing out blinds, and then running in with your auto nape cut and doing 3,000 damage. It's gone, thank God. That being said, Levi didn't get all nerfs in this update, as one big buff that he got was that now he's able to attack the armored Titan and deal damage to it, unlike all other Blades users, which I think was a really good decision considering just how good the armored Titan was against the Eldian team. They didn't have too many answers to it before, and now Levi can actually do some damage. There was a bug I ran into where I think that the spin skill still doesn't do damage and doesn't bypass, as I used it against the nape and I still heard the clunk, but everything else seemed to work pretty well. I've seen some rumblings about Levi not being worth 2,500 points anymore, and frankly, I don't think that's true. Because of how many points Levi can get while he's on the field, assuming you play him correctly, and the fact that he's effectively just a Blades user with a ton of health, I think both the price point and the nerfs are pretty well justified. If there's any one thing I would change, it might be that you could make it so that if Levi kills normal people, he gains some rage, even if it's not that much. But overall, the Levi changes are life-saving, and they make playing a Titan shifter not hell on earth anymore for the Marleyans. And of course, the last big thing of note when it comes to the Titan Warfare update is the AP gear rework, or more like the AP gear fix, because AP gear previously was completely useless. To paraphrase the video that I was going to make and didn't get a chance to, AP gear's hitboxes were super wonky, you got knocked back every time you fired, which meant that actually hitting follow-up shots was extremely unlikely. They had the possibility of dealing 49 damage, which means that sometimes you could shoot 2 shots into someone and they wouldn't die. All of these things on top of the fact that it wasn't a free class, which meant that you couldn't spawn on it all the time, it cost points, and you got put on a cooldown if you died. The only good thing AP gear had going for it was 200 HP, so you wouldn't get one shot by snipers. Other than that, it was useless. Now though, the AP gear is a force to be reckoned with, and is probably going to lean towards overpowered with those who can use it, which in my opinion is a good thing because it's a class you have to use points to get, so that makes sense. AP gear's hitbox was fixed, the damage was fixed, the knockback was removed, and now it's actually good. Shocking, I know. The hitboxes sometimes can still be a little bit wonky, and you feel like you should be able to hit things and then miss, but that happens with literally everything, so I can't really complain too much about that. It works 200% better than it did before, so if it doesn't work 10% of the time, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. Whether AP gear still needs 200 health is a question that I've seen some people asking, and I agree with you. I don't know if it still needs 200 health. Probably not the end of the world if it retains the 200 HP, but I think if it was brought down to 100 or 150, it wouldn't change a whole lot. But I would say more time needs to actually be spent with it to see if this is going to be true. I haven't gotten a chance to play Kenny yet, and I imagine he's a boatload of fun now with these new changes. But I can tell you that AP gear I actually enjoyed, and so I hope sometime soon, once again, that they fix Thunder Spears, so that those can also be fun, and not something that when it shows up on my daily challenges I go, oh god, how the fuck am I gonna get 27 kills with Thunder Spears? But yeah, those are all the big things that I could note about the update. All the other stuff is extremely minor, like bug fixes and some mobile changes, so I don't think we need to go over those things. In all honesty, Titan Warfare did kind of fall off for me, which is part of the reason why you haven't seen a video on it for 2 weeks. And the reason it fell off isn't because of any fault of the game, it's because I played it way too much and burned myself out. I'm level 81 now, and I'd only been playing for like maybe a month. I've played probably hundreds of games of survival, maybe thousands of games of regular PvP matches. I've basically done and seen it all. I still logged on most days to do my daily challenges so that I would have enough money to, actually buy stuff that came with updates, and I'll continue doing that but my recreational play had gone down a lot. And one thing that I did notice coming back, maybe just because there's more players in total, is that I ran into 3 potential cheaters when I was playing. And normally when I'm playing, there's like maybe one suspect person, but this time around, I'm talking just standard Marleyan soldiers, never picked anything else, and would get like 70 kills. One of them was flying around on the ground, so they were pretty blatant, but the other 2, it was more low-key driving around in a car, just killing everyone and hitting every single SMG shot. And I've played enough to know that hitting every single SMG shot is nigh impossible. So I don't know what coaxed out the cheaters when I played. I don't know if I just got unlucky. And I'm not one of those people that just calls anyone good a cheater, because there's a lot of people that are like me or way better than me that play these kinds of games. But I know mega sketch when I see it, and there was some sketchy stuff going on. That being said, even after not playing for like a week, I still managed to get a Carnage with blades, so I was pretty proud of myself there. And the game is still fun. So let me know in the comments what you guys want me to do with Titan Warfare, because every time I make one of these videos, I don't have any clue if it's gonna do well or if it's what you guys want. I mean, for God's sakes, last time I made a poll and I asked what you guys wanted, and you said gameplay commentary, and then I made one and it crashed and burned. So I don't know, man. Anyways, that's all I've got for today's video. If you got this far, once again, I'm gonna ask you to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm sorry, I know I don't normally do this, but I don't want to keep getting screwed, and I want to promote myself in the algorithm, so if you could help me out, that'd be great. Anyways, that's all, so I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you next time.